Recording in lossless audio. Stop recording.
Okay,
Button.
there we go. I have to redo this video over. I tried it and it didn't take at first, but this is recorded via Dolby On. It's Flying Jake, everybody. How are you doing? Long time no hear. Hasn't been really worth reporting on. I mean, I've been just sitting and twiddling my thumbs, looking for a job with no avail. But hey, I thought I'd do this video on YouTube. This is very important. I have a podcast up and running now. It's the most recent one that I have up. I have 3 podcasts now. One is the Flying Jake Show. The other is Soundscape, the ambient music podcast. And my third is going to be called the Able Body Podcast. Well, it is called the Able Body Podcast. I just did 2 episodes yesterday, the introductory episode and then the second episode. But what the Able Body Podcast is geared at is to break through this wall between the sighted community and the blind. And especially after the big heated blow up I had with an arrogant brother of mine who claims that the National Federation for the Blind and this person and that person, they're only doing stuff to build up my hopes. They don't really, I can't work in these jobs and it's all a bunch of bullcrap. The grants won't permit me to have any of the equipment that they have to show. Think of it. The taxpayers will be paying for that. So what? I'd rather the taxpayers pay for grants to help people better their lives who want to work and who have an opportunity to do so, rather than to pay for these low-life scumbag that come in and take advantage of our country. But my brother really ticked me off. The taxpayers this, and the taxpayers that, and the taxpayers that. Do you know how much an electric fluke costs, for example? A fluke. It costs blah, 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 blah. It's going to cost thousands of dollars. No taxpayer is going to pay for money to help some blind fellow out. Blah, 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 blah. You'd be amazed at the jobs blind people are doing. There's a fellow in Nebraska City my vocational rehabilitation counselor is trying to get me in touch with, and he's a diesel mechanic, and he is blind. Not just low vision, but blind. After countless fruitless searches and trying to find a job, I'm going to back up to the beginning. I was working at Outlook, Nebraska in Omaha, but I got 2 hernias. My goal was to start a studio. But in the meantime, after the hernias, I got the surgery. I resigned from Outlook, and I took up a position as a freelance writer with the Sergeant Leader, which is the newspaper in Sargent, little bitty town in west central Nebraska. I then left in 2019. I spent from 2015 to 2019, and I moved to Broken Bow, which is near Sargent, and it's just north of Sargent, about 30 miles. And I tried to get on with the Custer County Chief as a freelance writer. Nope, wouldn't take me. So I bounced around from place to place. I looked for a job. McDonald's, Pizza Hut, the bars around town, the Bonfire Grill. And I even tried this one vacuum. They're called Vacutainers. It's a vacuum packed sealed container that they use for handling tissue donations and stuff for organs and blood and things. I tried getting on at that company. Nope. That place was totally automated. I could get killed working that job. I tried, like I said, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, you name it. Then COVID hit. It was COVID lockdown. I lost my mom in 2021. A lot of bad stuff happened. 2022, I went on vacation, hung out with my cousins. I came back home only to find out that things had really increased in price. I mean, the prices just went up due to inflation. Bidenomics, okay? So in February, I moved to Pacific Junction, Iowa, just across the river from Plattsmouth. Was living at a cousin's house, and I've been looking around for a job, but also house hunting. And I found the current apartment I'm living in now, which opened in 2024, last year. So I moved in February. And I've been here ever since and just bounced around from place to place, looking for a job. I even did a few interviews. Nothing worked and nothing would stick. So I'd move on to the next thing and the next thing. Well, I have a vocational rehabilitation counselor. She kind of backed off because she wanted me to see something that would stick. She said, explore away, not your fault. I understand the situation. But I finally have a game plan. This is it. I was at the Commission for the Blind back in 2010. Back then, technology wasn't like it is now. Here it is, 2025. Technology has taken a giant leap. Go to the YouTube video. I think it is entitled. I think it's titled Nebraska Commission for the Blind. I'm pretty sure, but my friend Melissa took me up there for their anniversary celebration. We toured and saw how much the place had advanced, and I was just blown away. So this is the thing. I'm going to concentrate on me. I'm going to go there, hopefully, if Candace, my vocational rehabilitation counselor, approves of that and the commission approves of that. I'm going to go back for a 9-month training center in independent living. And also I want to take a shot at their wood shop. I think I have an idea because these other jobs are because I couldn't get into manufacturing. So I was looking for dishwashing. I was looking for transcribing. I was looking for this job, that job, just something. Nothing would come available. So, knowing now the advancements of technology, knowing that they have these different things, okay, they have table saws now that if you put your hand in front of the blade, it's going to stop it dead. They also have a safety feature. You can outfit a saw with this. It's a foot pedal that as long as your foot's off that pedal, the saw is not going to run. You have to engage the pedal, which triggers the power source. And then you have to flip the switch on the table saw itself to turn it on. And then you can do it. But don't tell that to the one who knows it all. The arrogant brother who jumped me. You think I'm against you when really I'm not. Take it from my point of view. He didn't even do any research. He just sits on his ass and flaps his gums. That's all he's good for. And then I said, Ernie, I know this is true. Yeah, I'm saying his name. I don't give a damn. I'm done. I told him, I said, Ernie, I know this is true. I've been to places where blind people are. Yeah, where have you been in one? For one, Vinton, Iowa. He says Vinton, Iowa. That says a lot. That place is a shithole and blah, blah, blah. He's always saying stuff. Bashing this person, bashing that person, bashing the Iowa Braille School, bashing. But you're talking about the fellow who destroyed a few measly electrical transformers I had when I was a teenager. I was 13 years old, won the 1991 science fair in Ottawa, Iowa. And my project was on the electrical transformer and how it worked. He destroyed my transformers. He threw them out. He said they were, quote, corrupting my mind. And he'll say it never happened, but he did. Thursday, July 4th, 1991 is a day I will never forget. I documented the SOB in my journal. That was a day when he just pinned me to the floor in the middle of our room and spanked my butt for what seemed like, God, a long time. He gave me many swats. And then he stood over me and bellowed, "You ain't getting your own way anymore. The big boy's in town and I'm putting my foot down." Then he was grown and had 2 kids of his own at the time. That's the kind of fellow we're talking about. And he wants to say that blind people aren't capable of much and blah, blah, blah. He only looks from the outside in and he doesn't, though he says, I do my research and I know, by God, I know. If he knew more than if he knew all that he thinks he does, then he would have known to stop some of the corrupt crap that was going on under his roof. And I won't even go into that on this video. But that's my biggest pet peeve, is somebody who thinks they know it all when they don't know anything. They don't bother to do the research. They just spew hot air. But I have this podcast up and running now. It's called the Able Body Podcast, and I did that because of this idiot and his stupid ramblings. And here's the thing. My eyes may not work, but my body does. Give me the chance to show you what I can do, and I'll prove you that I can do it. I'll prove to you that I can do it. Just give me a chance. Something that my family refuses to give me because they think they know more than me. Like my sister. They don't have to hire you based on your blindness. Now, did I say that? No. But they do have to hire me based on my performance, based on the ability to show them the things that I will use to work with that job effectively. And if they are hiring, and if there's an open spot where I can work, they have to hire me. It's in the ADA Act, Aid for Disabilities Act. It's in the ADA. I think I should get a link to that. I think I should copy the text and then send it to my obnoxious, arrogant family. I don't like the term disability. Like I said, I'm not disabled, I'm challenged. My eyes may not work, but my body does. So because of this brother and his bullcrap, I put together this podcast called the Able Body Podcast. And what I'd like to do in the future is interview blind people who have been doubted, but have proven otherwise and have, gotten themselves off the ground. Also, I'd like to talk about the things I'm doing when the time comes. But for right now, I want this podcast to be, just interviewing other blind people and stuff. But it's on Spotify. Oh, excuse me. I have to yawn. It's on Spotify. I also have 2 more podcasts. I have the Flying Jake Show. I mentioned that on YouTube. I have the Ambient Music Podcast. This one is called Soundscape, the Ambient Music Podcast. And it is on Spreaker and a bunch of other apps. I don't have the list of podcast platforms in front of me that this one is on, but I found a new app called Spreaker. And they have a thing called Studio, which you could record a podcast and then launch it on. Oh man, I'm on 9 podcast platforms. I know one of them is Spreaker. Another one's there's Spreaker, Spotify, iHeart. Oh, I'm on Amazon Music. I think I'm on iTunes. Yeah, podcast. Oh, Castbox is one of them, and Podchaser is another one. And just a couple more. But it's called Soundscape, the Ambient Music Podcast. And if you want to check out the Able Body Podcast, right now it's on Spotify. I hope to get it launched on iHeart later. But I'm just going to stick with it on Spotify until I can get my interviews lined out. Excuse me. Do a few episodes. I'm trying to fight yawn. Do a few episodes and go from there. But this is going to be a podcast about able-bodied but blind. Just because you're blind doesn't mean that you're not able to do something. And my family are so negative and they disgust me, to tell the truth. They disgust me. I can't stand them. And with people like them, it's best to throw them on the turn. Because if you hang out around them and you listen to them, it doesn't matter what you do, they're going to get you down. They're going to get you down. They're going to wear you down mentally, and that's going to take a toll on your physical health. Walk away and don't look back. Don't stop loving them. I'm not saying that, but walk away from them. I'm Flying Jake. I'll be back with more YouTube content. Drop me a line. Tell me what you think. Send me a comment. I'll be back with more videos. Until then, take care. Maybe the next time you see me, I'll be at the Nebraska Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired.